får jag presentera Zakaria Hersi. Välkommen! Hej, välkommen.
Hey, son. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. So I'll take it in English. So my name is Zakaria Hersi, and I'm actually from Stockholm. So this is super cool. Somali origin, and I've lived in Sweden since I was 7 years old. Until 1 month ago, I was the managing director of everything.com. But before that, I started my first company when I was 22 with a couple of friends, and we were part of the Sting incubator here in Stockholm. And that basically got me into the startup world, meeting people and coming up with crazy ideas to focus on. And after that, I moved to Kenya, where I worked for Swedish Trade Council for a couple of months, and I started another company that worked within IT, building networks for telecom operators. So my journey has taken me through, before the age of 28, to have started companies in Kenya, Colombia, Mauritius, and now recently Nigeria. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to be involved in, especially when it comes to social entrepreneurship. And the reason why is also because of my origin, where I come from, Somalia, where there's a lot of issues politically, but also when it comes to aid, and I believe entrepreneurship is very key. But also within here in Sweden, there's a issue with diversity in workplaces, and I got to experience that a couple of years ago, where I had applied a lot of jobs, didn't get interviews, and I changed my last name, and unfortunately I saw what the reasons of here in Sweden when it comes to discrimination workplaces. So for me, it became a lot of focus, like where startups become the new way forward, because they don't care where you come from. They think about what type of asset you are for the company. I've been working closely with a company previously that is called Besedo, and they worked a lot with marketplaces. So it's there where I got into the whole world of classifieds, together with Blocket, with eBay marketplaces, and OLX. So that got me into, okay, I would like to be part of this growth when it comes to marketplaces. So almost like 2 years ago, I got a request regarding, would you want to do it in Nigeria? So just to give you a little bit background of the continent, Africa, or the country Africa, what people used to say, the numbers are staggering. It's almost like 1.1 billion people who live in Africa now, and that will basically double to 2.5. Nigeria, being a country of 180 million, will grow to 450 million. It would be the third largest country in the world, but it's also English-speaking country in the world. So it creates an immense potential when it comes to growth in Africa. You see it now within tech startups. I think 2012, there was almost close to $4 million that was invested in African tech startups. So from 2014 to 2018, they will project almost close to $1 billion being invested. Give you an example, TravelStart, $40 million. Is a Swedish guy behind it. Africa Internet Group is part of Kinnevik. They raised 225 million plus another 80 million beginning of the year. Iroko TV, it's the Netflix of Africa, also a Kinnevik company, and Ghana startup, a hub called Mess, that's also part of Meltwater, that's a Norwegian company. So there's a lot of activities going around in the tech startup in Africa. So, back to everything. So everything is pidgin English for everything. So what I got the request from Kinnevik is that funded SaltSide Technologies, Kinnevik had the possibility to build up a company very, like most of you people know, called Avito in Russia. So they wanted to take this type of concept into emerging markets. So SaltSide was a part of their strategy to do so. So they opened previously in Ghana, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. So Nigeria would be their fourth country to do so. Why Nigeria? Number one is the population size, but they compared the statistics of the largest marketplace in Nigeria and compared it to the site that they had in Ghana. And they realized Ghana has a population of almost 25 million people compared to Nigeria that had close to 180. But the Ghana website was bigger than the competitor in Nigeria. We tried to find out the reason why, and the issue is trust. I think everyone knows about Nigerian scams. I think the recent one was the astronaut that's stuck and tried to bail a person out. But there's a lot of issues when it comes to online trust. And 180 million people, is less than a fraction of 1% of people who are scammers. But they have created such a bad reputation for many people that it has really stopped the growth of, especially when it comes to marketplaces in Nigeria. Kinnevik is one of the innovative investment firms when it comes especially to Africa. They have close to almost 20 ventures in 10 countries, from hotel bookings to e-commerce to taxi ride sharing, everything possible. So when I moved to Nigeria, basically it was get Google Maps, figure out the platform is the same in each country, but it has to be adapted. The name has to be found. So we had to look for names that work well for a country that almost has 500 languages. So we found out Pidgin English, it's common slang that is being used. So it was design the website, create the map, and start basically building the company. So I was there for the first 3 months. I was by myself. Had a small room where basically I registered the company, started contacting different entities, and slowly building up the company from there. 1st of April, so during a period of on March, I was doing almost 120 interviews in 2 days. And it was basically like mass recruitment. But the crazy part is I wrote 1st of April on everyone's contract. So 75 people showed up on the first day of work, and I don't have space for them. So we went and found a room in a hotel where we did basically the training. So from 1st of April is what I call when the company came live. So we started building up. What we realized is we need to be very, very different when it comes to the competitors around, and it's building trust. There is no personnummer. There is no databases. There is nothing whatsoever for you to be able to check when it comes to people's identity. So we realized we need to build up a database ourselves. So we did a very drastic thing is every single person who posts an ad on our site has to be physically verified. So we basically go to them, take pictures of them, write down their locations, take pictures of the government ID, and we store it. So we had to build our own database. On top of that, not only did we had to verify them, but every ad that they post, we moderate to see if there was no scams going on. So operationally wise, it's a big thing to do. And how do you actually explain to people who are used to using the competitors where they could just post without any hassle? So for us, we were in a very tight situation, so we had to postpone our launch twice. And it was to get the logistic right and to build up the inventory. Another thing what we realized is Lagos has the craziest traffic ever. There's almost 21 to 22 million people who live in that city. Traffic, you could probably be 3 hours going to work. So what we realized is not only convenience, but it could create trust. So what if you could buy something from the site and we pick it up and take it to you and you can check it, and if you like it, you pay for it. The thing is we work a lot with used goods. So it's all relative. So instead of having new goods where you can open the package and you know you're happy with it, for us it was focusing on used goods. Like it could have a scratch on the screen, but it's also depending on you know about the product yourself. So that created a sort of low-tech escrow system that people felt like, okay, now we're comfortable to use the site. So for the long time, we didn't do any marketing whatsoever. So it started coming up stories on like something similar to Flashback here in Sweden, a forum in Nigeria where people were asking who's who are these people doing everything, who are coming, knocking on people's door, and we're actually handing out gift bags and so to make people comfortable to start using the service. And we started branding our bikes. So we had 30 bikes in Lagos, and we realized, okay, let's focus on the 3 big cities, Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt. What we realized later on, after 2-3 months, we needed to expand even more. So we went from those 3 cities to almost 8 states. So that would cover almost 90% of the internet population in Nigeria. And another thing that we offered is that none of the companies around, or any logistic company, so we couldn't even use DHL because they can't even do same-day delivery, because buying an item, usually it's impulsive. You want to buy a phone, you want to feel it, you want to see it the same day. If you postpone it to the next day, they'll probably change their mind. So we had to build, how do you actually build up without doing any type of marketing? Because we want to launch it in a big way, and it's supposed to be inventory. So when the buyers come in, they want to see good quality. So we had to build up a large force that goes out in each market and basically talks to each seller, shop owner on using our app. But we realize there's issues with internet connectivity. People have smartphones because it's getting cheaper, but still, data is still very expensive. So we come up with different ways of creating hotspots, using different apps where we could actually share the apps with them and help them. People didn't even have email addresses that they were using. So we helped them and basically educated them on how to actually download the app and use it as much as possible. Also, you need a kick-ass team, and we grew to almost 150 by July, and competition started noticing what was going on, and it became even tougher. Situations it's so tough that competition when it comes to Nigeria, it becomes physical, basically. So there was a period where I was sitting in the office, and I just hear one of our staff members coming, locks the door from the outside, and I'm stuck inside. And I look out, these 4 armed policemen coming, trying to arrest me, to put me away in jail for the weekend. And they couldn't find me, so they tried to find one of our staff to take it as a ransom in the meantime. And this is the issues what happens. There's corruption, there's people who are very protective of their turf. So it creates this type of issues. So unfortunately, it escalated, but in the meantime, we kept on going on and keep on building the company. So we launched officially out in media 5th of August 2015, and it just went quickly. We went up to the top 3 shopping apps in Nigeria. So if you look at number 1, 2, 3, and number 6, all those are Kinnevik companies. So it clearly shows that e-commerce and marketplace is dominated by Kinnevik. The database that I mentioned to you guys, we built up 30,000 sellers, verified sellers, within 2 months. And we became the biggest classified sites within 3 weeks of launching. So for us, it was like, okay, now we're out there, people will start using the site. It's how do we actually make it more cost effective? So we bought up one of the competitors called Adi, that's owned by one of the Swiss media companies. Schibsted had a site in Nigeria, but they pulled out and they sold it to the other competitors. So we had to start coming up with strategic partnerships. Adi that gave us the possibility to use their content site, news site, to be able to push blogs and SEOs for very cheaply. So we were able to get a media channel for a very cheap cost. This is the commercial we have. I don't know if this has a volume.
Need to sell something fast? Download the Everything app, upload a picture, and submit. The Everything app for when it's got to go right now. Everything.com, #1 for used goods.
So we started doing such marketing campaigns that really people felt connected to. There was a lot of competitors who used same marketing campaigns throughout Africa, but we focused on creating adapted marketing campaigns. As you can see, TV. And we did it for the different verticals. This is clearly fashion. But there's unfortunately a resentment when it comes to used goods. People don't understand the value of used goods. So we are trying to educate people, saying things that you have at home or things that you want to get rid of, as you can see here, is value for someone else. So we did it for different verticals, for phones and electronics and so on. We did the same thing with radio commercials. Again, as I mentioned, there's so many languages in Nigeria, so for each city, we chose the dominant language where we adapted the different radio spots. We also realized online marketing was very, very key, but it's also very, very expensive if you do it in the wrong way. So for us, we were pushing every week, looking at the different KPIs we had, and trying to push down the CPAs as much as possible to actually get the highest amount of impact. We did also BTL marketing. BTL marketing is, most people would, as boo.com, would go buy billboards. We can't afford billboards. So what we realized is doing car stickers. People are stuck in traffic the whole day. So they'll be listening to radio, and when they go home or at the office, they'll look at their Facebook or whatever. So we wanted to show the most exposure. So we basically put 100,000 car stickers in the cars in Lagos. So basically, every fifth car where you are stuck in traffic, there'll be a logo in front of your car. So these were the cost-effective type of marketing campaigns. We also realized we want to push app. App is the future, but there's of course issues with the data cost. So we started looking at different ways of pushing mobile web. When it comes to app, it's always to keep on trying new networks and seeing also how other benchmark yourself as much as possible with the other competitors. Again, Nigerians have trust issues. I fully understand them, but it takes them at least 8 times for them to see a brand before they actually try it. So it means it's a lot of cost when it comes to brands like us who want to have people on board. So what has happened since then? Starting 2 months ago, we moved into a very interesting area that's called membership. It basically means that sellers could start paying us a subscription per month where they would get a shop on their site plus deliveries. So you can clearly see that we have moved from having a basic classified site to a more hybrid marketplace, giving value for sellers that feel like, okay, this is a company, the brand that is very well known, and you can both sell used goods and new goods. So we have been able to create a lot of value with that. So since we launched it 2 months ago, we have had 500 businesses that have signed up to us. The cost can be between $20 to $70 per month, depending on what type of packages. If you're a car dealer, it's a higher package because, of course, the value of the item is more expensive. So far, some statistics that we have had 200,000 app installs so far on our app, and have had almost 750,000 verified listings on the site. And that's a combined value of almost 22 billion crowns. And the company is around 180 employees, but the thing that I'm very proud of is 50% in management team are women, and 45% when it comes to overall statistic are women in the company. And most of them, this is the first job, so almost 70% are below 30 years old. So people have backgrounds in zoology, meteorology, anything what basically have been able to get into the e-commerce space and work with us, and has created such a loyalty because unemployment in Nigeria is huge. So for that, it gives us that we really can take care of our staff and build up a brand that is more long-term. And for me, long-term is, I moved away from Nigeria a month ago, and the replacement that we found is a local Nigerian that can basically focus on building this company that will be around for the next 20 years. So thank you. That's enough for me. Thank you.
What a nice story.
Thank you.
Just one question from Rickard.
Just one? Okay. This validating customers, it sounds very expensive, and you said in the commercial also that like if you want to get rid of something very quick or sell something fast, it takes a lot of time to go to.
Yeah, correct. So when we launched the concept, we would tell people it would take them to be verified and have the ad on the site 48 hours. That doesn't work very well. So we were able to push down it and be more efficient and coming up with different ways by checking other platforms and APIs and such things. Of course, there's a company that's doing very well is like Truecaller. So for that also, you can use different ways of adding those variables on top. So we're able to push that 48 hours down to less than 4 hours. For us, the goal was to at least take it down to two hours. So again, it's very impulse buy. People want it quickly, but we have also lost a lot of listings when it comes to the high quality we have, but it has then gained when sellers have basically paid us because they feel they have good quality buyers and there is no scam on the site.
Yeah. And you get the business model is that you get money when people put an advertise in. They pay you for.
Most of it is free, but when it comes to businesses, they pay a subscription per month where they can have their own branded shop and free deliveries included. If you don't want that, you can still post it, but you'll have a limit of amount of ads you can have. So a car dealer has 100 cars, he can't post 100 cars. He can post 10 for free, but if he wants the unlimited one, he will have to pay a package for it.
But how do you get this going? How do you have the turnover? And I mean, it's expensive. People come there and want to advertise.
Yeah.
It's free.
Yeah.
And you have to send someone out, or in worst case, you have to send someone out and take a photo of the ID and stuff.
Yeah. When we launched in Nigeria, we knew that it would be an investment phase of at least 2-3 years, where we won't be being able to get revenue. So for us, this is an investment from our side to be able to create trust within the Nigerian community. When we started monetizing already 2 months ago, that was not even the plan, but we realized the feedback that we were getting, that we could push on the plan. So the more we are able to create this type of quality in Nigerian e-commerce, we'll be able to pull down on the investments and let it start becoming, like for example, Blocka, I think it took almost 7 years for them to start to be able to come up with different monetization schemes. So for us, it's long term, but for this period, it's purely investment.
Thank you so much, Zakaria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.